Good afternoon, everybody. Well, I think it's afternoon. I am no longer in Texas. I am up in the Northeast visiting my husband. We've got a northeaster coming in through today that is going to bring us quite a bit of snowfall. So fingers crossed or not. Perhaps I won't be able to make it back to Texas tomorrow, but that's not why we're here today. This morning was the 7th video in the second series of retirement planning. And the retirement planning was as if you are solo. I'm going to share the screen and we're going to get going. So here we go. Here we go. So as you probably are aware, this is the second series in a 7-series group of videos. There's 7 a week. There's one every day. And then we end with a recap, building up to the overall approach of how we prepare for retirement, whether you're single, divorced, widowed, married, maybe multiple. It's the multiple marriage. I'm on marriage number 2. But how we actually feel comfortable with our own retirement plans and understanding that just because you have a partner does not mean that their money or the money they're bringing to the retirement party should be part of what gives you that warm, fuzzy feeling of when you're ready to retirement. As for me, I personally need to know that the money I have squirreled away for retirement would sustain me through age 93-ish, which is when I plan to expire. God willing, the creek don't rise. But if my husband, my wonderful, wonderful best friend, if he was to evaporate or have never existed, I need to know that I'm going to be okay. As a team, we're fierce and unstoppable. My security gland says, I need this sense of peace. So let's get started. If you're here, you have already started giving some thought to your own retirement, what it looks like, when you can do it, if you can do it. We in this generation called Gen X, we are creating let's just call it a hybrid or a fluid retirement. We may not ever quit working until long past the age that people tell us we should. What is a retirement age? You get to decide your retirement age. I personally will probably do a glide landing into the permanent retirement, whether that means I step down into a part-time position with the company I'm currently working for, or I continue to work my side hustles and do my own income production. I enjoy what I do. I enjoy other things. So I will continue working and earning some sort of income till I decide I no longer want to, but I want it to be a want and not a need. So retirement planning, you need to do it as if you are single and solo. If you are married, you can do it independently, sit down with your spouse, see what you look like as a team. But if your retirement plan depends on somebody else, whether it's a marriage, that it's going to last forever, God forbid that it does, a job staying stable, we've all been there. I've been laid off a couple of times. I worked as a contractor. Projects, when they're done, they're done. Jobs are not necessarily stable. And if it depends on someone else showing up, you don't really have a plan. You got a whole bunch of hope going on. So let's sit down. I got my cup of coffee and let's figure out what your retirement needs to look like and what your comfort level is. Independent does not mean you're alone. It just means you're prepared. And we're going to figure out how to make the slide go forward. And collectively, there we are. Slide 2, I think. There we go. Let me get a cup of coffee, a little caffeine, and I'll get this motor running. So what is this series about? What was Series 2 about? Series 2 was about removing the assumptions. For those of us who have a partner or a marriage, etc., whether it's our first marriage or our 15th marriage, there are assumptions that their retirement money is our retirement money. And that's not necessarily the case, especially if you're on marriage number something besides number one. For both of you, this series is also about replacing your hope with clarity and planning as if it's just you and not you and somebody else, because somebody else could be making plans or have made promises that you're not fully aware of. And if you are aware of them, you may be making assumptions. Well, he'll take care of me first, or she'll take care of me first before they take care of the others. And that has left a lot of people a little surprised. Let's not let it be you. The emphasis is planning solo because it builds strength even in a partnership. I'm going to read some notes here. This recap and reflection, no one needs to decide anything today. We're just here having a conversation. You're just here getting information, things to think about. Awareness first, action later. So let's get into the next slide now that I know how to forward them. There we go. Planning without assumption does not mean you are expecting the worst. I am not expecting my husband to roll over and say, oh, all my money's going to the Save a Cat Foundation. No, I'm not expecting that. I need to know that if it did evaporate, if he never existed, if I wake up like this is the episode of Dallas from the 80s when Who Shot JR, and it was all a dream sequence, y'all remember that? I need to know that I'm going to be okay regardless. Common assumptions also are about your spouse's income. The shared retirement, they may be intending to leave part of their retirement to a previous spouse, to a child that either you are aware of existed or maybe not. There's been women who've been caught unawares as far as folks who come out of the woodwork for that inheritance when somebody passes. Legal ownership versus emotions. Now, missing safety nets create silent pressures. You know what? Did I? There we go. I did. I just went forward. All right, let's roll with it. Missing safety nets creates silent pressure, and that it does. Unspoken expectations. It is okay if you make the assumption that your spouse, for as long as y'all have been together, will take care of you in retirement. There's nothing wrong with that. But what if? And that is the scary thing. It's the what ifs that you need to start beginning to figure out where the money is, what their intentions are. I want to respect my husband's wishes for whomever he wants to endow his money to, because I'm going to be secure in the fact that my money that I brought into the marriage is going to be more than enough to take care of me. So if he wants to leave half of his retirement to said Save a Cat Foundation, then so be it. I want to be able to honor that for him. I don't want any fighting or backbiting or devious nature to happen. This is not a game of Clue. Who's going to kill Colonel Mustard with a candlestick in the library to get the retirement money? That's not what we want this to boil down to. So the missing the safety nets and the silent pressure that is cooking can be can be depressurized, can be, what's the word I'm looking for? Diffused? Diffused. There we go. We can diffuse that bomb before it ever happens. Even if strong relationships have unclear financial roles, that can create anxiety as well. We women, we are going to outlive the men in our lives. It's a statistical fact. So if you're not currently managing the retirement money or aware of where it is, you need to start looking and asking questions, because at the end of the day, for whatever's left, because they're going to decline quicker than we are, but for whatever's left, you are going to have to manage the retirement. Now, declining faster than we are, that's just part of the aging process as we all begin that slow descent into our final goodbyes. And it is also statistically proven that when the end starts to accelerate in the direction of us that we need additional medical care. Sometimes we even have to go into assisted living and or nursing care for the last couple of years, and that can erode your retirement money super, super fast. So you need to figure out together what those plans are so that when the ultimate end happens and we women are left holding the purse strings and the budgets and we have to manage for the rest of our lives, we understand where the money is and what is left. Solo planning for me, and I can only speak for me, brings relief. Fear of the unknown keeps me awake at night. It makes me fret every time I think about actually putting in my notice to retire. Numbers are manageable when they're visible. I am a huge proponent of a budget. I was single for a very long time between divorce and my forever man now, 20 plus years. So my 30s, my 40s, and some of my 50s. And with that, I learned the value of a budget. I started off making almost nothing, as many of us did back during our early 30s, and have gradually built myself up. But I still live on a very tight, very transparent budget. And I suck everything else away because I didn't start preparing for retirement until my 40s. Excuse me. Most women need less than they think. There is a school of thought, and I encourage it. I want you to start doing a budget, figure out what your retirement budget is going to look like. And I have a free worksheet in the description below. You can go and grab that. But it will help walk you through understanding what your current money needs are as an employed individual, somebody who has to dress a certain way, have clean clothes, uh, have transportation, et cetera, et cetera. When you leave your job, you are not going to have a lot of the expenses you currently have. So your today budget versus your retirement budget are going to look different. But you probably will be surprised on what you're actually living off of now. And the gap between what you're making and what you're spending, there's a big buffer in there that you're probably able to start saving for retirement. So we're going to start doing a budget, but you need to be able to have that visual reassurance that when I retire, I'm only going to need, I'm going to make up a number here because I probably only need 60% of what I make right now to live off of when I retire. And so I am living off of that now. And the extra I'm putting into my retirement funds aggressively through my company or into my own individual accounts and piling up cash. I have a theory about a peace fund. I need a giant pile of cash and to be debt free, except for the house, before retirement, so that when I pull that trigger or decide to step down and follow my dreams and my passions with my side income, that I have enough money to get me through the different toll gates. If I decide to do this before age 65 in Medicare, well, then I'm going to have to pay for health insurance. So I need to bake that into my post-retirement budget as well. Again, I personally will probably not just, I'm retiring. It's more than likely going to be a step down glide. Maybe in my 70s, I'll decide I'm done working. I'm going to start living like I'm retired. There's things I want to do. I'm young enough now to go out and climb Machu Picchu if I want to, or maybe take a helicopter ride up there and then walk down it. But I can walk down the mountain. But in 10, 15, 20 years, maybe not so much. Maybe that's something I need to do now versus then. And we just talked about it like this. We just talked about this. Women face a different retirement reality. We live longer, so we need more money to take care of us for our full life expectancy. We have had gaps in what we make historically through our career. And the reason for this is not because we're quitters or we're flibbity gibbets and we couldn't hold a job. No, many of us took time off from our jobs to have children. We were and by we, I'm saying generically for the gender, because I personally had none, but I watched my sisters and my friends. You had to take off if the kids were sick, or if there was a snow day, or an unexpected something or another, or God forbid one of your kids got in trouble at school and you had to go and get them and bring them home, etc. But then we stepped away a lot from our jobs, and not everybody made a salary. Many of us were on an hourly basis. So no show, no dough. You missed some hours, you didn't get paid some money. So there were some wage gaps there. And now we in Gen X, we are the sandwich generation, because a lot of you are still taking care of your adult children. Okay. Many of you have only adult children. I know very few Gen Xers, even the younger ones, who have children who are under the age of 18. If you do, good. What were you thinking? Okay, no, good for you. What a blessing. But I'm child free. But we are now in a position to where we're taking care of those kids and our own parents. Single, childless. I was the voluntold one that as the parents were aging, I was the one who was going to get the honor and the blessing of actually taking care of them, which I have done. And it is challenging, to say the least, but it also pushes the need to step away from the job to be able to take care of them, whether it's doctor appointments or now that we're at the sunset period of the last parent that I have. I am taking off a couple hours in the afternoons on a certain day of the week so that I can go and spend time with them while they're still fresh off their afternoon nap before the sundowner happens. And for those of you taking care of memory challenged parents, you understand what that's like, because it's almost like a change of the channel in the afternoons between the Hallmark movies we're watching to the afternoon news. Click, she's a different lady. So I'm taking time off so I can enjoy the pre 5 o'clock news mother and enjoy spending time with her. But with that said, we face a different reality. So if we're planning as if we're solo, or if we are solo, we definitely need to take these things into consideration. We're going to live longer. We are going to have had interruptions in our work careers, and we're in the stage of life where it's caregiving. Life happens, we pull up big girl panties, and we move on. When you plan solo, it creates options. And that's something my mom told me when I was divorcing back in my 30s, was that I didn't need to go jump into the next something. I need to exercise some options. And options for us now are, where do we want our money to go? What do we feel comfortable investing in? What lifestyle are we budgeting for retirement? Do we have lifelong dreams and trips that we want to fulfill between now and the time that we're on a very restrictive budget? Do we even want to be on a restrictive budget? Maybe we want to keep working, whether that's part-time or side hustles or the job we currently have. Maybe they will let us do a staged hybrid retirement. These things are all possible. Do we want to stop working at age 62, 65, 70, 80? You get to decide. But by planning independently, all of those options are available for you to make decisions on. Now, if you're in a relationship, whether it's a marriage or a partnership or friends with benefits, however you define it, regardless of genders, you have to honor the relationship and have these conversations communally. Find out what they want, figure out what they're bringing to the retirement party, and then decide how y'all want to move forward with retirement, and if it's going to be a commingled retirement existence, or if you're going to independently fund your retirements and then come to the table and share expenses, kind of like a roommate situation. Y'all do you. I'm going to do me, and I'm planning independently, but I do have a warm, fuzzy feeling that my spouse has prepared for retirement. And if the absolute worst was to happen, I know I can depend on him. And that's a wonderful thing. So planning without a safety net doesn't mean you're expecting life to fall apart. I'm not expecting life to fall apart, but it does mean that I'm building a retirement future that stands by itself, even if everything else shifts. And that is so reassuring. Has this made you think? Have you seen one of these videos that made you, does he have a spouse I'm not aware of? Are there kids out there that are going to come hunting? Do I need to know ahead of time? You probably have. So let's take a minute and talk about some of the things that might be keeping you up at night. And some of those things are, drum roll, what surprises, what assumptions that you have, leave it down in the comments, surprised you the most? An assumption that you didn't even realize you were living through, that you thought was solid. But at the end of the day, after watching one of these videos, you might actually decide or realize that, hey, that's it's kind of unstable for me to assume that that's something that's going to be around for me because I haven't actually asked them. Even if this is your first marriage and you've been married since high school, okay? I'm facing my 40th high school reunion this year. So if you've been married for 40 plus years, great. But your retirement money is not necessarily commingled. If it's in his name, if it's in her name, and you're not POD or a beneficiary, it's going to be difficult for you to touch it. If there's not a will and you're not in a community property state, there's going to be some challenges. Things are going to get caught up in probate. Do you have access to cash that you need to live on retirement while probate sorts things out? So there's some things that need to be decided amongst the two of you. And if you're planning solo, if you were to pass away, what becomes of your world? Who do you want to be the beneficiary of your assets, whether they're houses or jewelry, etc.? So there's other layers to this than just the retirement monies that you guys need to think about. But for this particular conversation, what number are you avoiding looking at? Are you avoiding looking at your debt? Are you avoiding looking at what the actual retirement amounts are currently saved and when you can start drawing on those? Are you aware that your income for the last 2 years up to age 65 is what Medicare is going to cost you? Are there things that you can do now to start avoiding that? So these are things that I have been unpacking and uncovering in my own life, things that I've been learning about. I'm not a financial advisor. I have YouTubed a lot of this information, but I have also talked to my own personal financial advisor and other trusted friends and resources, and I'm learning a lot. And I encourage you all to do that. Ladies, we were not taught how to prepare for retirement. Retirement for us is something that we're starting to consider pretty late in the game because we have been in not just survival mode, but caregiver mode, raise the kids mode, put food on the table, hold down 3 or 4 jobs. And now all of a sudden we're in our 50s and we're having to consider, oh my goodness, retirement is around the corner. How am I going to make this happen? Do I even have enough money? I haven't even thought about this. Is it too late? And the answer is no, it is not too late. But you got to start thinking about it now, today. You have to intently start planning for this. So you guys tune into me. I publish videos every Wednesdays and Saturdays. Saturdays, we talk a lot about retirement approaches, plans, etc. Wednesdays, we talk about the mindset of retirement because retirement is more than just dollars. A lot of it is cents. And you need to start paying attention to that as well. Does planning solo feel scary to you? Do you have somebody in your life who you know is not paying attention to their retirement and they are solo, share this video, share my channel with them. Y'all come on, we have got lots of conversations to have. So what assumptions did you realize you were carrying? Put it down in the comments. Did planning solo feel scary for you or relieving? I'm relieved that I'm allowed to plan solo. I can rely on my husband, but I know that my numbers stand true. What's the one number you're avoiding looking at? Is it Social Security? Is it the amount of money you have in your 401k? Is it what medical insurance is going to cost? Those are scary numbers if you're not prepared to see them. And what would you change if you planned as if it was just you? If you think back, what would you tell your younger self? Go find a niece. Go find a neighbor's child. Go find a young lady who needs to hear that. And you go tell her what you wish you had told your younger self. And then bring her along to these conversations too. All right, y'all. I appreciate every time you guys like, comment, share, and subscribe. I look forward to seeing you again soon. Now, I want to see if I can gracefully exit this. Let's see. I can stop sharing. There we go. And now I can end stream. Okay, so today is Saturday. The full recap for this YouTube Live will be posted soon. And tomorrow, almost the full hour of all 7 videos are coming out. So keep coming back. I'll see you Wednesdays and Saturdays. And next month, we're going to talk about what is the real cost for putting off retirement or beginning to live your retirement. You don't have to fully quit. You can do a hybrid. You can do a glide-in retirement, but you need to start living like your retirement. That means living on your budget. You got to start doing a budget. Get a description below. Grab the Master Your Money Plan workbook. I also have Life Experience to Income workbook for you down there, both of which are free. So go treat yourself, and let's come on back and keep talking about retirement and what we're going to do to retire like we mean it.